Well, this is probably not going to be used. This is for reference. This is for posterity, the future, or it will get used. I don't know. It's a cutaway. It's a cutaway gag. I love those.
I never saw. I know it exists now, but like I never saw a lot of stuff that I thought was like that really made you think about something. That really, at its core, the goal was to get you to think. And that's what I wanted. I wanted to make stuff that was about something that people would actually have a conversation about. You were thinking about it for the rest of the day, and you bring it up to people in your life. To stay in someone's mind, that is what I want. I want to make things that will linger.
Well, see how far relaxed I am? It's a presentation,
You're made
it's a
for
show. The moment that I feel like it's a show is the moment I am relaxed, right? The moment I can like actually be fake, like earnestly. It's so weird. So the premise came about like a year and a half ago, maybe 2 years ago, where it's important to say that I was critically depressed. Critically fucking depressed at this juncture. And I started drawing this correlation between knowledge and unhappiness. So the more you learn about something, like you have like the entire concept of cancel culture, right? Like you learn about these people that you previously admired, and now you can't stand the sight of them. Now you can't enjoy something that brought you a lot of satisfaction. Ignorance is bliss and knowledge is pain. So that was the foundation that I was operating on. And I tried to make this video, and I became so frustrated with it, I had such difficulty actually enunciating it and putting it into words that I just had to stop because I was getting like so viscerally upset about it. I couldn't cope with it. So I came back to it a long time later, and I was like, okay, maybe if I take another stab at this, then maybe I can do it in a healthier way because I'm happier now that I watched it. My camera, it would only record 15 minutes at a time. So it wouldn't tell me when it stopped. Eventually I would hear a clicking noise. That means it had been idle for 10 minutes, and it clicked off, and I go. So it wasn't only that it was, because I had a lot more like fresh ideas where it's just like, the ideas were just like, they were so simple and easy. It was so frustrating because I didn't know what I was doing at all. My microphone was terrible, I held it wrong. And my SD cards were tiny, it's like 8 gigs. It's like, oh my god. Because I have to like put it in my computer and load it all in, take it out. Put it all in, load it in, and I was learning to edit. Like I was taking like digital filmmaking classes, but they're terrible classes. Oh, they're terrible. It's like how to make the blurry borders for when you have a vertical video on a horizontal plane. Like, we're gonna spend an hour and a half on this? Are you serious? And he'd go like computer by computer, making sure everything's right. Like, dude, there are tools that do this automatically. Right. This is a plugin. So it was a complete wash. I self-taught, completely ground up editing. Everything I know, I taught myself, which is why the editing at the beginning is super rudimentary. Everything sucks, and I take so much pride in it now because like every cut, every single edit is like, I did that. I made that decision. I figured out that plugin 3 years ago, and I still use it. All these things that I'm still learning. There's just so much. There's such a technological barrier. It's easier for like MacBooks and stuff like that because it's like, oh, you have iMovie. If you have a beautiful HP laptop like me, then you have to choose whether you're going to spend your life savings on Premiere Pro or you're going to learn a much harder software. I learned a much harder software. So the way Curiosity came about is Curiosity is a storytelling mechanism used to get to knowledge, get to the pain, get to the inciting event. So, in my original concept for the video, we had Alice in Wonderland, Pandora's Box, and Adam and Eve.
Alice in Wonderland, she's just walking around, Bunny goes in a hole, she goes in a hole. What the fuck? Big goddamn mess. So Pandora's box. Literally told to her face, do not open the box. Only bad things will happen. She's like, that's so crazy. And there's research that backs this up as well. So there's research about when someone is told, they do it with like electric shocks. They're like, if you look inside this box, if you take this action, you will know what it does. You will receive an electric shock. And almost everybody's like, yep,
Right.
that is a risk I am willing to take. So people, for these, like, to satisfy the curiosity, will knowingly go through pain to reach the end of that road. Sometimes the end result of that is a lot more severe than people anticipate. Like, curiosity killed the cat. Why is that not up here? What the fuck? We'll just slam it in here. Like, I was obsessed with this stuff.
Right.
Obsessed. Because it's there's a world of brilliant, creative people who are on the forefront of something. Now, I wasn't old enough to like watch when like Justin Bieber videos were going viral or whatever. Like, I wasn't there for like when you would rank videos on a star system. But like, in terms of YouTube becoming something that you watch on TV instead of TV, that's what I grew up on. I think I was in the early days of YouTube being profitable. I haven't been making videos near that long. Incredibly aware of YouTube, as basically as long as I can remember. Like, it's a fixation. I find it endlessly fascinating because people really just, you watch them form their identities. Like, they'll be like kids, or they're in their late teens, and they're like, I have something to say. And here's this platform where you can say whatever you want. I got it. So in my undergrad, I studied acting, but like I did a ton of mass media stuff. Like, I worked live broadcasts and took classes that did not contribute to my major at all, but I wanted to do them, so I did them. All because I wanted to start a YouTube channel. That's what I wanted to do. Like, I wanted to make really good YouTube videos, and I was committed to not starting a YouTube channel until I was going to be good at it. I didn't want to be a webcam person or a React person. Like, I wanted to make things. And for me, making things on YouTube was viable. I saw it be viable. I saw people that I was like, honestly, these people remind me of me. Like, they're young, they're excited, they're good at what they do. I just need the good at what they do part. So everything else, I'll figure it out. Why did I even start watching the specific brand of YouTube that I did? I have no clue. My parents, I don't even think they had YouTube accounts. I don't think they had any notion of what I was watching on YouTube. I wasn't watching kids stuff. I was watching the news in a different package. I was like 14 watching a news show. Like, I have no notion as to why I started watching, why I found it so interesting, why I thought that it was going to be a good creative medium for me. So curiosity is the gateway to knowledge, is the gateway to, it is literally fucking around, finding out. So I found these stories of curiosity gone awry. Polybius is, it's a play about the urban legend arcade cabinet called Polybius that was allegedly made by the CIA and was like testing hypnotherapy bullshit stuff. It's not real, but like, that's the story. And so someone made a play about it, and it's about these people who seek out Polybius. They find it, and then they play it, knowing they play it because they're like, "Whoa, what's right here?" It's like, "Are you stupid?" So it perfectly lines with the thing. Added layer, Max Landis wrote it. Max Landis is currently primarily known on the internet for being a sex pest. Like, his reputation is completely ruined. Like, he can't work. His name, he works all the time, but his name can't be on anything because his name is toxic. So he gets jobs all the time. He's a great writer, but he's so known for like the shit that he got caught up in like 7-8 years ago that everybody hates him. but I work with him all the time. So like added layer, like you learn about who wrote it, and you learn about him, and you're like, oh, can I like conscientiously consume this media? And, like so. I also want to land rabbit hole. Got those stories. Turns out also, most of these are about women. My wife pointed that out, and I was like, okay. So, then we're over here. We have main points about the sexism of curiosity and knowledge. And that's when I figured out, this took a long time to parse, that my notion of knowledge and curiosity was actually a sexist notion of it. Basically, knowledge is gatekept by masculine entities like universities and just institutions to keep from people who are not welcome in those spaces, which historically is women, people of color, like people who are not supposed to be like powerful masculine people. So curiosity leads to knowledge, knowledge leads to burden. Strong people carry burdens, weak people, like, so burdens aren't borne by the weak, conceptual woman. The carrier of the burden is strong, conceptual man. The burdenless are lightened, the burdened are weighed down. So that also plays into like suicidal ideation in men, depression in men, lack of emotional intelligence in men. Like they are burdened by this knowledge. They feel like they have to the weight of the world's on their shoulders. That's a lot of like white guys are very depressed. It's like I feel like I'm supposed to be doing something. I'm supposed to be somebody. I'm supposed to be something. When in reality they're just like a person living in the world, but like there's societal expectation for them to be fucking Napoleon Bonaparte or some shit. Like your name is supposed to be in the history book. So if you're normal, working like an office job, you get critically fucking depressed because you're supposed to be the guy who's in charge. And this pops up in a lot of like, I mean, I've experienced this where it's like financial stuff where it's like, I won't tell her about that bill. I'll just pay it. It won't be a thing. Why would I do that? She tells me about all of her expenses. Why would I not share about my expenses? So that is a whole thing. And now, where these come in is women are punished for their curiosity. Women are punished for obtaining knowledge. Can't trust women with knowledge. They need to be. If a man had Pandora's box, then we wouldn't have had all the problems in the world. When of course men have started every war, right? So it's like this blame game. And then I thought of like, okay, what's the like masculine curiosity? You have like inventors, discovering the new world, Albert Einstein, explorers. These are always guys. These are always like, wow, it's so cool that in 1492 Christopher Columbus sailed the ocean blue and killed all those people. I'm skipping that part. An objectively bad thing happened, and it's like he's like a hero. There's monuments everywhere, and Columbus Day, and literally 500 years later, I still know his name. That's the juxtaposition we're talking about. I made this video about this pretty small YouTuber named JD Signifier. I think I say at one point in the video. I think I said JD Signifier. It's got 10,000 subscribers. Nothing crazy, but he just made this video about Bo Burnham that blew up, and everyone's watching this video, and I feel like he was addressing me very directly because he's talking about like white progressive people and their sort of artistic pursuits, and I was like, I kind of have something to say about this. Nothing negative. This video sort of resonated with me, and I feel like there's some things that he didn't address, like about like he was talking about white experiences versus black experiences. Like I brought up how black people are more likely to die in the hospital because like doctors don't take black people seriously. Like it's like, oh, you're over exaggerating, you're upset, take this medicine, go home. And then they die. Whereas white people, it's like, they're in the hospital, it's like, oh my goodness, something must be very wrong if you've arrived at the hospital, clearly. So that's like a whole thing. And so I was like, I have some things to add. And so I talked about that for like, I just sat on my bedroom floor for like 25 minutes, barely editing. I didn't fucking frame it right. I was wearing a t-shirt from a podcast that is now dissolved. Like, I wasn't even on a microphone right. Like, but, I made it. And he commented and he watched it and we started communicating and I was like, I'm really glad that you liked it. He's like, I've never had anyone make a video about one of my videos, so it's like, you're like the
Right.
first person that's done that for me. It's very cool. He's like exponentially growing and all this stuff, and it's like, hey, we're like friends. This is awesome. And then he makes his break bread video, and I'm in it. There I am on his big green motherfucking walls, my giant face plastered behind him, and I was like, because what was happening was I was working on a video about fucking eggnog, and I was checking my YouTube studio, and the number went from like 400 to like 430. It's kind of weird. 431. 432. What? 433. 434. What's going on? And we had a roommate at the time. I was like, can you come here? And she came in, and I was like, what's going on right here? And it's like 4:45. I was like, it's moving. It's like, yeah, it's moving. Maybe the algorithm got you? I was like, what? What's hitting? She's like, I don't know, but you know, it's a good thing. I was like, yeah, I guess so. I was like, oh, I figured it out. You know, whenever he posts a video, I get a bump because people get pushed to his most popular video, which is the Bo Burnham video at the time. So you know, it's cyclical. And I was like, man, you gotta stop posting videos because it scares me when the number goes up. He was like, oh yeah, sorry I didn't ask you before I included you in the video. And I went, what the fuck are you talking about? Alright, well I gotta watch the video now. I'm gonna watch it. And he leaves this glowing review of me. Speaks very, very positively. He invites me onto his live like a couple weeks later, and like, you know, I'm bumped up to like 3,500 subscribers, something like that. And it's like, okay, I got patrons, I've got like things are thinking. Like, well, this is what I'm gonna do now because things are thinking. But of course, like, all my projects take fucking forever. So like, I would get discouraged because I'd be losing steam and it takes a lot of time. And so then I just spiral about it and nothing would happen. And then, you know, I'm a lot more open about it now where it's just like, I'm very upfront with the people who do give me money. I'm like, look, all the money you give me does go right back into this. Like, this Patreon money bought the whiteboard. Inarguable. Like, it wouldn't exist without there being extra income coming in. The numbers stopped going further. And pretty much right now when I check my subscriber account, I still get subscribers, but it's not the same type of jump, and it's not the dopamine. It's not the food anymore. It's just like, oh, people are existing in the world and they run into it and they like it well enough, so they subscribe.
Yeah, science is like the ultimate knowledge, and that's predominantly male-led field. Yeah, it started about a video that was just like my depressed, like, curiosity is knowledge makes you sad. It's like, I'm just gonna talk to Karen about how I'm fucking sad. But it's become, wait a minute, this is like a institutional thing. Like, this is a layered, stratified system of knowledge gatekeeping. And there's also like, there's wealth imbalance with knowledge, right? So like, if you don't go to university, you might not have access to tons and tons of articles and scripts and stuff like that. Or if you just can't pay to get access to JSTOR or whatever. Curiosity versus temptation, which I thought was interesting for Adam and Eve, because Eve was explicitly tempted to do it, but she's still the one who succumbed to the temptation, and is largely the one who is blamed for the ensuing events, which is everything that happened afterwards, like right now. So like, she's still blamed for it, even though she was tempted by a masculine figure, and Adam very rarely receives any blame, despite ostensibly doing the exact same thing. It just wasn't a snake, and he's a guy. Beatrix Potter, just a scientist who was largely ignored, and her male counterparts would like to take credit for her scientific research. Of course, it comes out that she was doing house research, and it's like, well, what the fuck? So she like literally wasn't even, she was a knowledge keeper who was not allowed to be known as a knowledge keeper. So that's the thing. That's the video that I'm gonna try and make.
I've had such a long life of doing music at every stage of my life, basically. Like, as a kid, I was in a boys' choir for like 8 years, and then I was in theater with Red Mountain, and then I was doing high school theater, and then I went to school for acting. So like, music has always been involved at every stage of my life. I'm choosing when to involve music in my life. I'm choosing when these moments will have musical attention. So like, I'll direct a stage reading. There doesn't have to be any music. That's my decision.
Mm-hmm.
No one's gonna make me. No one's gonna ask. It's completely my decision. If I don't bring it up, no one asks me. And it's like, well, if I just don't think of it, if I don't involve music in my life, it won't be there. It's easy to let it just sort of slip away because, like, for the rest of my life, I had very structured places to go for music. For 23 years, I had structured places
Right.
that I knew that someone needed me to do music. That's not the case right now. I have to make it. I have to find it. I have to, it's my responsibility. That's why I take so much care in picking songs for YouTube, because it is so easy just to go into the YouTube studio, pick a Kevin MacLeod song, and no disrespect, like he makes decent music. It's just like, once you've heard it a few times, you know where it came from. And like, it's very easy to just pick it, slam it down, and I try to take a lot of care because like, it's one of the main ways that I actually interact with music now.
Okay, right. So it is. So I was stuck in a cycle of thinking curiosity, knowledge, pain, and I was like, okay. When I tried to map it out, I was like, pain doesn't lead to curiosity. That is a break from a cycle. And when you and again, I'm much healthier now than I was then. I talked to some friends about it. I was like, when you think of knowledge, do you think of that as like a painful thing? They're like, what? Learning's fun. I'm like, I know. Curiosity is cool. Learning is fun. Knowledge is power. It's awesome. I also had this thought that I was like, absolute power corrupts absolutely. Does absolute knowledge corrupt absolutely? And like, it was just like a weird thought. I was like, if knowledge is power, like, can we combine these things? I still don't know. It's probably not going to be explored in this video. It's just something that's like driving. So I was like, okay, what would an actual cycle of like curiosity look like? Find/discover problem, seek solution, solve problem, discover new problem. And you go around and around like that. So then the breaks from the cycle, if you break off after you develop a problem, then you will either be miserable or curious. If you seek a solution and you break off, it would either be fun or hell. And you break off after solving a problem, then I guess you reach nirvana. If you break off after solving a problem and you never find another problem, then the only thing I can think of is like, well, I guess you did it. It seems like you've graduated from our mortal coil. You've figured it out. You're that plastic-free girl who has all of her trash in a jar. Like, I think you did it. But I want to film it with all this hindsight, all this clarity, and being like, I'm gonna bring it all together, and then work my way backwards, like through time, like bringing myself back to where I started. I would start the video with my old perspective and then work my way forward.
Okay.
I have a trailer for it. I made like the first minute of this video. I'm just gonna show you the idea of it because I love the way that I cut that intro.
My, what a peculiar place to have a party. You know, Dino, we really shouldn't be doing this. After all, we haven't been invited, and curiosity often leads to trouble.
initially I was like, that's another story of Curiosity Gone Awry, and she was like, but Barbie's not punished for being curious because Barbie's not curious, it just happens to her. And the mom character is also not punished for her curiosity and wanting to enter the Barbie world because she rekindles her relationship with her daughter and gets to know Barbie, and her life is just better all around. Holy shit! It completely it's totally separate. Like it's its own thing. If anything, Ken is a story of Curiosity Gone Awry because he gets in the car of his own volition and ruins everything back home. Like, he comes back and he fucks shit up. Like, he makes a fool of himself. He has a story of Curiosity Gone Awry, which is a fascinating break because it was written and directed by a woman. As long as it, like, I've explained to a couple people, because I've had this up for a couple weeks. Everyone says that it makes sense, but I always get nervous because until I press post, I'm like, this could be a complete lump of coal.
Right.
It could be nothing. It's an absolute nothing burger, and I'm gonna spend a lot of time on something that, because my goal is like, if I can just perfectly enunciate the trials and tribulations of curiosity and tie it into sex and then bring it around to the Barbie movie, then the fucked up part is I found the Love Island video to be exactly as mentally stimulating. My idea is basically I start the video as like, knowledge is this cursed thing, and we have all been burdened as humans with knowledge. Like, there are stories about how knowledge has corrupted us. Like Adam and Eve, they eat the fruit, they learn all the ways of the world, and they are immediately punished for learning. In Alice in Wonderland, and like presenting all these things neutrally, as non-gendered, as just like, these are stories that everyone knows from basically, like, I don't remember a time that I didn't know about Alice in Wonderland. These are like basically innate stories. So, like, these are these stories, you know them, I know them, the moral is don't learn. So what the fuck are we doing? Learning all the time. Should we be, like, floating around aimlessly? Like, what kind of messaging are these stories telling us? And just trying to extrapolate on that a little bit, and then just like a pause, and like, why are all these characters women? And then hard cut, you know, fall down, whatever. Bada bing, bada boom. Welcome to the board. I've been enjoying trying to film not just in this room all the time. I went on campus. There's a lovely, they have like I wouldn't call it a marina, but it's got a floating dock thing. It's like, it's got a nice backdrop. So I'm sitting on like a floating dock during that. And then I filmed in here, and I filmed in the basement here. I made all this, and I was like, I need to not touch it because I want to give you the genuine experience of walking in and going, all right, so how does this happen? And I have to pretend or assume that will be a compelling thing to watch. So I've been pretending and assuming that. So I'm thinking, break the video down into parts. So part 1. Is depressed. Part 2, panic. I love a 3-act structure. We'll call it denouement. Denouement is basically the final outcome of the main dramatic complication in a literary work. So it's the wrap-up portion. It's so we're putting the pieces together. Major things have happened, and we are actually going to begin winding down and explaining what the fuck just happened.
So one somewhere fucking dark. Probably two light sources of different colors.
Let me show you something.
Yeah, because I hear the full mix too, like in the falling.
Like two magnets, we are drawn to each other. You just know how to push all my buttons. Moved out of town and I erased your number, but still I find myself calling in the to you. I know you feel the same. You
It's just so powerful. Like it's such a different vibe.
I mean, yeah, this could be a whole class.
It's genuine.
Why do we choose? Why did you choose this? When you write to find, you know, all of my
I can still remember the first time that we kissed.
And this is just like it's a monster. It's wild. I know it's kind of cool. Not the vibe, the cool song. Yeah, that
Yeah, I
was
mean-
good. Sound match? What is this?
No way.
What? This is nuts! I have not touched this. I didn't even know. Yeah,
It's interesting
and
that
the list appears to be somewhat bottomless.
it's still a lot of options. Yeah.
I really wonder.
Been invited, and curiosity often leads to trouble. My, what a peculiar place to have a party. You know, Dino, you really shouldn't be doing this. After all, we haven't been invited, and curiosity often leads to trouble.
Wow.
That's fun. I'll get throw that out like, but yeah, it's all kinds
Wow.
of things.